Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon to you all here. It is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And once again, we do have significant severe weather expected today along the East Coast and the Northeast, back up into the mid-plains and upper Midwest. We've also got severe weather tomorrow. We got severe weather on Saturday. We're going to continue to see an upper-level high-pressure system start to develop here across the Ohio River Valley, the southeast, really majority of the eastern and central plains. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow for very hot, humid temperatures. Our first summer heat wave is on its way here, as well as severe weather will still be at play going into the high plains and the upper Midwest through much of next week before we start to kind of quiet that down. I will mention, guys, Category 4 Hurricane Eric last night. Major Hurricane Eric made landfall this morning in southern Mexico as a Category 4 hurricane with 145-mile-per-hour winds, almost touched Category 5 hurricane status. And I will let you guys know as well, this is the first major hurricane to ever make landfall in the month of June in southern Mexico, and it's also the 9th major hurricane to make landfall in general in southern Mexico. We don't get these storms that happen a lot, so significant damage ongoing down there with that hurricane. It's still ongoing down there from this morning, but it did make landfall this morning. It went from a Category 1 hurricane yesterday afternoon to a Category 4 hurricane overnight, and it went through rapid intensification as expected. The water temperatures down there just very, very supportive. That's something we're going to have to watch going into the months here as we go into hurricane season, as we get closer into the middle of hurricane season, as we get closer to August and September. Right now, not expecting any tropical development anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the Gulf or the Atlantic, but the water temperatures are warm and they do support that. So when we do get a system out here in the Gulf or in the Central American gyro area, the Caribbean, anywhere else, we'll have to watch for that as well, kind of going into the season. We'll talk more about that as that approaches later on. But we do got a pretty widespread risk zone today. We do have a level 3 enhanced risk back along Virginia, West Virginia, up into Pennsylvania, the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. Once again, upper level low back up here into Canada. We've got another system that's going to be coming in later on this afternoon. We do have the threat for potentially a 50-50 shot tomorrow. It's seeing a pretty significant tornado event. We have a volatile atmosphere tomorrow across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas tomorrow. I'll break that down for you guys here in a minute, but it's a little bit more of a complicated forecast in terms of what could happen and what could not happen tomorrow. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. We do got showers and thunderstorms already developing this afternoon along that upper level low, back down here into portions of the southeast as well. A complex of storms moving through that was moving through this morning and last night. Some severe weather could be associated with that Boeing line segment, but most of this is going to be some low wind, up to about 50, 55, maybe 60 miles per hour, and then we'll have the threat for some hail and maybe a brief spin up tornado potentially if that's on the lower side of things. But other than that, break this forecast down for you guys, kind of talk about what's going to be happening. One more thing as well I will mention, back down here near southern Texas, we do have a stream of showers and storms moving in, and that's going to be due to that tropical moisture from the leftover remnants of our hurricane and just in general tropical downpours that are going to be moving into southern Texas. So be mindful of the flash flooding threat out there near Brownsville, down towards Corpus Christi, down towards the Gainesville area. We could be seeing the potential for some flooding issues going into the later half of this week here. We'll go ahead and break down this forecast, kind of talk about what we're going to be seeing here for you guys. We'll go over here to the Storm Prediction Center. This is our risk zone, just fresh, updated off the press here. Level 3 enhanced risk that goes from New York City back down here to Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia. You are in that level 3 enhanced risk. The good news is it's not tornado driven. This is a wind driven. So we are going to have to watch for winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour in this area later on this afternoon. Level 2 slight risk outside of that from North Carolina all the way up to Maine, into New York State, Massachusetts as well. Another level 2 slight risk up here as well, back into North Dakota, into Minnesota and Wisconsin for a secondary system that'll be coming through today and tomorrow. Marginal risk across the plains here and then upper Midwest, and then a marginal risk that extends back down here into the southeast. So lots of severe weather possibly on the table today. The tornado risk is going to be very low today. We are looking at a 2% chance of seeing a tornado back up here along from Virginia, West Virginia, all the way up into the Canada line. Very low tornado risk today, not expecting much with this at all. Wind threat at 30%, 15 and 5% across all regions here that are highlighted for winds up to 70 miles per hour. And then the hail threat also 15 and 5% in most regions, with the high plains being the higher point for that. So not looking at like a big day today. The risk zones are a little bit higher just due to the wind threat, but we may or may not live stream this today. It'll just depend on what happens. We'll be watching radar behind the scenes. If we need to get on, we'll break in, but if not, we're going to probably wait until way later on tonight, and we'll do our weather update and kind of talk about different things that are going to be happening tonight in that update. I do want to get to tomorrow because tomorrow has very interesting potential. I will mention tomorrow has the ceiling of being potentially a regional tornado outbreak across portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. The problem is going to be we will have very strong instability, but we're going to have a very strong cap tomorrow. Tomorrow looks to be very much capped out. We have a 700 millibar temperature inversion that's going to allow for a warmer advection of temperatures in the mid-levels of our atmosphere, and that helps the capping inversion stay in place. So if storms can break our cap tomorrow in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, in the Dakotas, we could see a very strong to intense tornado potential across those states here. We could see extremely large hail, the threat for damaging winds as well, just multiple factors that are leading into tomorrow's start. And we're going to talk more about it and break that down in the stream later on tonight. But we do right now have a level 2 slight risk and a level 1 marginal risk across portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, getting into the Dakotas here, with the tornado risk looking at an elevated tornado risk here, a 5% and a 2%. And this could increase significantly and shift easterly or shift significantly as well over the next couple of hours if things do in fact show. A lot of the models are not showing storm initiation, and that may be due to that capping inversion that's going to be in place tomorrow. So if that capping breaks, we could be looking at a very not great situation across the Midwest. We could be looking at one of the most volatile setups we've seen all year long in this area tomorrow if that capping does break. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that. If you don't know what a capping inversion, it's basically a temperature inversion aloft in the atmosphere that keeps storms from initiating, from storms from firing off. And until that cap gets broken, if that cap gets broken, things typically don't go well once that happens. So we have a very, very good set, a very unstable, extremely buoyant atmosphere tomorrow. So 2%, 5% tornado risk here across the region tomorrow. Wind threat is hatched. We could see winds over 80 miles per hour tomorrow across that hatched region from basically Bismarck, North Dakota, all the way to Minneapolis and back into Green Bay, all the way up to the Canada line, Duluth, Marquette. You guys are in that as well. 5% outside of that there. And then the hail threat is also hatched here as well. We can see hail above 2 inches in diameter. I really do want to watch this tornado risk because I do think a 10% hatch and maybe even a, higher risk than that could be on the table if things do in fact can continue to kind of trend, or if they trend up. So we'll see what happens with this as things continue to trend. And then we go to the day 3 outlook here for your Saturday. We do have a marginal risk that extends once again from the high plains all the way here to the northeast. We will have a high pressure system up here or down here in the Ohio River Valley, and then a trough over top of that ridge, allowing for storms to continue kind of in a west to east fashionly here. And then we go to the day 4 through 8 outlook, and we'll probably still see severe weather. It just hasn't been highlighted quite yet in terms of what we're going to see going in the future, but that will stay in the high plains. Now let's talk about what's going to happen today. Showers and storms will be initiating here in the next couple of hours across the Ohio River Valley, across the East Coast here in the Northeast. Not a lot of organization with this. And like I said, we have that enhanced risk specifically confined back here to Washington, D.C., Baltimore, getting up into Philadelphia, getting up into New York. And that's because if we get a line of storms that develops, that's where the higher potential of where that's going to be at. But most of this is going to be very scattered cells in nature. Could see a couple brief spin up tornadoes, but mostly going to be wind and hail. This is going to be between about 3 o'clock this afternoon and about 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then this is off the coastline and it's done. So it's going to come through very quickly and it's going to be done and it's going to be out of here. So I don't have to spend too much of a focus on that today. Just be mindful if you guys are in that area today along the East Coast and the Northeast. Now we are going to have a secondary mode of storms that's going to initiate, and we are seeing this potential mode ramp up here a little bit quicker. I wouldn't be shocked to see a couple tornadoes across the state of Wisconsin or Minnesota tonight, and this is going to be after you guys are sleeping. A couple storms could fire a couple supercells with some wind, some hail back up here after 7 to 8 p.m. tonight across Wisconsin and Minnesota. You guys can see this is what's really interesting. We kind of get a training of arc of supercells back up here just north of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and this is after midnight tonight through about midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning. And if this does happen, I could see an upgraded risk zone coming in the future today if this does trend up. Something we're watching. This could pose a tornado risk. This would pose more of a wind and a hail threat, but this could pose a tornado risk if storms can become surface-based. But I think a hail and a wind threat will be more primarily with these storms after midnight tonight across the state of Minnesota and North Dakota. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. We'll have more of an update later on tonight about this, but definitely going to be a long night if you're in Minnesota and Wisconsin, especially the northern portions of Minnesota and central portions here, maybe getting into Minneapolis. Could see some rough storms out there. And then we just get this transitioning into heavy rainfall. And then this opens up the door for tomorrow. And I want to talk about tomorrow here just very, very briefly with you guys. As more information comes in on tomorrow, we'll, talk about it. I mentioned there being a capping inversion. Not a lot of models are showing storms tomorrow. We see some arc of supercells firing off up here near Duluth, back up here in farther northern Minnesota and Wisconsin, but our main area of tornado potential is going to be south of that here, and you're not seeing any storms initiate. Maybe one back over here across Montana, but you're not seeing storms initiate in our main risk zone tomorrow, and the reason why that is because of capping, and if that capping holds, we may not see anything tomorrow. If that capping breaks, could be looking at a significant tornado outbreak tomorrow. It's just that close 50-50 shot. We've seen these happen a lot this year in Oklahoma, and it typically doesn't go very, very well. Here are the tornado parameters for tonight. So we do have a little corridor here of tornado juice, but what the problem is going to be is tomorrow. I want you guys to look at this. As low-level jet increases tomorrow, we are maxed out. We are maxed out, guys, on tornado parameters tomorrow. You can click a sounding anywhere in this area tomorrow, and we have a PDS sounding for a violent to intense tornado potential. So a very, very interesting day on tap for tomorrow for your Friday across this area here. If you are in this area, you need to be weather aware, because if this cap does break tomorrow, we could be looking at a regional tornado outbreak potentially across the state of Minnesota, southern South Dakota here, and northern portions of South Dakota and southern South Dakota. So a big day tomorrow if that cap breaks. Hopefully that cap does not break. Hopefully it holds. If things change, if things uptrend, if things downtrend, I'll definitely make a video for you guys and let you guys know, or we'll talk about it in the live stream tonight. But a very, very big day. This maxed out tornado parameters across this area tomorrow. We'll also have a very strong buoyant instability corridor as well. Instability is going to be pushing anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 joules per kilogram as well. When I mentioned there will be a lot of capping out there, and this is what's called sin. I don't show this too much unless, we have a situation like tomorrow, but there will be lots of sin, and these brighter colors you're seeing is the capped out environment. The brighter those colors are, the higher those values are, the higher chance it is that we don't see storms happen. So we're going to have to see if a shortwave trough impulse can help allow this to initiate or just really anything get these storms going tomorrow. We'll keep you guys updated on that and kind of go from there in the future. Now, I do want to talk about our global pattern here and what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of days here as well. And we do have that high pressure system that is building down here in the Four Corners. This will be shifting its way to the east across the Ohio River Valley, the southeast, through tomorrow and into Saturday as this upper level trough does move out. We are still going to see significant troughing on top of this ridge here. And what this will allow for is the threat for severe weather. And you can see this little impulsive wave across the Dakotas here tomorrow. And if this does, actually happen and we do get that capping to break, like I said, not a great day across Minnesota and the Dakotas tomorrow if this does happen. Now, we do have more of a significant trough that's going to try and develop here going into Saturday and Sunday. This could pose a better chance of seeing severe weather both on Monday and Tuesday. We'll see what SPC does with that. But a high pressure system down here, keeping things nice, keeping things quiet. There will still be a general thunderstorm risk across the United States, regardless of that high pressure, because it's the summertime it happens. Significant troughing still playing a factor here going into Monday, going into Tuesday here. We could see a more elevated risk for severe weather as that trough ejects both on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then we get another trough that comes in, and then eventually our shear starts to kind of fall apart here, and we start to notice that high pressure will dominate across much of the U.S. There still will be instances of severe weather throughout the month of June here as we finish off the month, but going into July, there looks to be a more quieter trend in severe weather. There still will be severe weather possibly up in the high plains as ridging, like I said, stays to the south of that there, but we will see lesser severe weather. And going to the July 4th holiday, it still looks to be better and better that we'll see less severe weather, which is a good thing here. It just kind of gives us an idea here of what we're going to be looking at in terms of where those showers and thunderstorms are going to be at. And there still will be a chance down here in the southeast, but most of the Ohio River Valley and the Midwest and the northeast here will be underneath that ridge, so keeping things very dry but very humid and very hot going into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday here. And then we start to see showers and thunderstorms across the Ohio River Valley again going into late next week as that ridge kind of shifts to the east there. But really just looking at, general rain, thunderstorms across the board here, other than those severe weather chances up into the high plains. So that's what I've got for you guys today. We'll have an update later on tonight, live stream tonight. If we need to get on live and cover today, we will. But that will be kind of on standby mode for that. As always, I do appreciate y'all for watching. Stay safe, be weather aware, and we'll have more information for you guys down the road.